Caitlin Clark has made headlines again. This time, the Iowa standout isn't just setting records or sinking three-pointers from the half-court line. Instead, she's made a groundbreaking move that no one quite saw coming: a lifetime deal to play basketball in Europe. It's the kind of announcement that feels both shocking and completely fitting for Clark, whose career has been anything but ordinary. But before we proceed further, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe. This deal on the surface is about basketball, but as with anything involving Caitlin Clark, it goes beyond that. She's not just playing the game, she's rewriting how it's done. Her ability to command attention has always been part of her charm. Even off the court, she has this magnetic pull, a presence that makes her feel larger than life. And now, with this lifetime deal, she's putting down roots in Europe in a way that feels both bold and historic. She's not just another player who took a contract overseas to pass the time or collect a paycheck. She's committed herself to this, as if she's about to change the very fabric of the game in a whole new arena. Clark's journey to this moment started the moment she picked up a basketball. Anyone who's followed her career knows that her rise wasn't meteoric in the traditional sense. There wasn't just one big game or one incredible season that put her on the map. She's been on the radar since high school, gradually building her legacy with every buzzer beater, every cross-court pass, and every no-look assist. In a sense, this deal with Europe is another extension of that steady climb. What's remarkable, though, is how she managed to keep the specifics of this deal under wraps for so long. For someone whose every move is analyzed and dissected by fans and analysts alike, Clark's ability to keep things hush-hush adds a layer of intrigue. Of course, the announcement of the lifetime deal sparked an immediate flood of questions. What does this mean for the WNBA? Will she ever play stateside again? And how does a player, especially one as young as Clark, decide that committing her career to Europe is the right move? These are questions that will likely be answered in time, but for now, the news itself is enough to keep fans buzzing. It's clear that Clark has thought this through. If she's putting her signature on a lifetime deal, she must have a plan, and knowing Clark, it's bound to be as strategic as her game on the court. For now, though, it's worth taking a step back and looking at the broader context of this decision. American basketball stars, especially women, have long found Europe to be an attractive option. The competition is fierce, the money is good, and in some places, the fan culture rivals that of men's basketball in the States. But this kind of commitment from a player of Clark's caliber feels like a shift. Players usually sign shorter contracts overseas, dip their toes in the international waters, then head back to the U.S. for the WNBA. Clark, though, is doing the opposite. She's essentially declaring that Europe is her stage now, and for the foreseeable future, that's where she'll be putting on her show. From a financial standpoint, this deal makes a lot of sense. European basketball leagues, especially in countries like Spain, Italy, and Turkey, offer lucrative contracts to top-tier talent. The European sports market, while not as commercially loud as the NBA or WNBA, operates with a kind of efficiency that's appealing to players. Endorsements, sponsorships, and television deals across the continent ensure that elite players are well compensated. For someone like Caitlin Clark, who already commands attention wherever she goes, the European market is a goldmine of opportunities. She'll likely become the face of whatever league she plays in, drawing crowds not just for her skills, but for her reputation as one of the most exciting players in the game today. But there's more to it than just the money. Caitlin Clark, in typical fashion, seems to be playing the long game here. This deal isn't just about racking up points or padding her bank account. It feels bigger, more strategic, like she's positioning herself for something beyond basketball. Maybe it's about legacy. By committing to Europe in such a dramatic fashion, she's staking her claim in a global basketball scene that's still growing. She could easily become the face of that growth, the player who brings even more international attention to the women's game. And if there's one thing Clark knows how to do, it's get people talking. In fact, you could almost picture Clark laughing to herself as the news broke. It's the kind of move that makes everyone sit up and pay attention, and it's exactly the kind of unexpected decision that has defined her career. She's always had this playful quality to her, this sense that she knows she's the best player on the court but doesn't need to rub it in your face. Instead, she'll hit a three from the logo, flash that sly smile, and jog back down the court like she just did something completely ordinary. This deal feels like that. It's Clark at her best, making waves, challenging the norm, and doing it all with that same quiet confidence. Her decision also speaks volumes about the state of women's basketball. For too long, the women's game has been overshadowed by the men's, both in the U.S. and abroad. But things are changing. With stars like Caitlin Clark making major moves, the conversation is shifting. Fans are paying attention in ways they haven't before, and more importantly, young girls are watching and realizing that they too can make a career out of basketball. Clark's lifetime deal with Europe might just be the spark that pushes women's basketball into an even bigger spotlight, especially overseas. Of course, the move doesn't come without its fair share of risks. Committing to Europe means she'll be playing in a different system, adapting to different styles of play, and facing competition that's different from what she's used to in the States. But Clark has never been one to shy away from a challenge. In fact, she seems to thrive on them. You can almost picture her in some European gym, barking out instructions in English, while her teammates respond in Italian or Spanish, all the while draining 3 after 3. Language barriers or cultural differences probably won't slow her down. If anything, they'll just add to the legend of Caitlin Clark. Beyond the basketball implications, there's something deeply fascinating about how this move fits into the larger picture of Clark's career. She's always been a player who does things her way on her terms. In a way, this lifetime deal feels like the ultimate expression of that. While other players might have chased the traditional route, college star, dealing NBA draft, a few seasons in the States, Clark has taken a different path, and in doing so, she's redefining what success looks like for female athletes. She's showing that there's no one way to make it in basketball. You can carve your own path, take risks, and still come out on top. What's particularly striking about this decision is how it reflects Clark's personality. She's always had this competitive fire, this edge that makes her a force on the court. But there's also a lightness to her, a sense that she's enjoying the ride just as much as she's dominating it. You get the sense that this lifetime deal is as much about fun as it is about career. She's not just signing on for a job. She's signing on for an adventure, one that will take her to new places, expose her to new experiences, and challenge her in ways she's never been challenged before. And that, more than anything, feels like what Clark is all about, pushing herself, having fun, and doing it all with a smile. Clark's sense of humor is another aspect of this deal that shouldn't be overlooked. It's easy to imagine her sitting in a meeting with European executives, throwing out sarcastic comments and playful jabs, all while they're trying to convince her to sign the dotted line. She's always had this mischievous side, this ability to keep things light, even in the most intense moments. And in many ways, that's part of what makes her such a compelling figure. She's serious about basketball, but she doesn't take herself too seriously. This lifetime deal, it's a serious commitment, but you can bet Clark is going to have some fun with it. As the dust settles from this announcement, one thing is clear. Caitlin Clark isn't just a basketball player. She's a trailblazer, a trendsetter, and someone who's always thinking a few steps ahead. This deal with Europe is just the latest example of that. It's a bold move, the kind that only a player of Clark's caliber could pull off. And in the process, she's once again reminding the world that she's not just here to play the game. She's here to change it. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more engaging content. We thrive on your feedback, so be sure to leave your thoughts in the comments section below. Until next time, keep discovering and stay tuned.